This offseason has changed the landscape of the NBA quite a bit across the board, with so many teams shaking things up and coming with new-look squads for the upcoming season. Free agency may not have been as hectic as it's been in years past, but it still came with a fair share of surprises and head-scratching moves, and that brings us to today's video. While some teams found hidden gems and pulled off some brilliant value signings, other teams handed out some questionably bad contracts, and today, in this video, we will be going through discussing the 5 worst contracts that were given out this offseason. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first of the worst contracts given out this summer that we'll be discussing today is the Milwaukee Bucks signing Myles Turner for 4 years and $109 million. I hate to continue beating a dead horse because that's honestly what I feel like I'm doing at this point, but for a topic like this, in this video, I can't just not include this one. I simply cannot understand the logic that the Bucks have been operating under this offseason, and the level of delusion and denial happening in that team's front office kind of astounds me. They're moving as if they're on the verge of being back on top of the Eastern Conference in title contention, and we're just one piece away from getting back to the promised land, but that cannot be further from the truth. The Bucks have been trending in the wrong direction for 4 years now, ever since they won the title in 2021, and after using up most of their tradable assets 2 years ago to acquire Damian Lillard and go all in on trying to win another ring, they've seen that plan blow up in their faces and refuse to accept the reality of their new situation. This is a team that has been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, and they're now paying Damian Lillard millions of dollars to go play for another team over the next few years. Myles Turner is turning 30 years old this season, and while he may be an upgrade over Brook Lopez at center, he's not the kind of player that will be saving this team from mediocrity. The Bucks are stuck in place until they realize that the only path forward is to unload their top players to restock on assets for the future, because all of their money is now tied up in an uninspiring roster and their draft picks have all been traded away. In a vacuum, this is probably fair enough value for Myles Turner, but the fit and the timing of the signing is why it finds itself in today's video. The next of the worst contracts given out this summer is the Portland Trail Blazers signing Damian Lillard for 3 years and $42 million. Lillard's return home to Portland after spending 2 seasons in Milwaukee trying to ring chase has been a very heartwarming storybook ending for his career, being able to go back to the team that he probably wanted to stay loyal to from the very beginning and getting to be the leading veteran presence for this young team as they progress forward into the next era of Blazers basketball is something that will make any basketball fan smile. All of that can be true, and this can still be a signing that leaves you scratching your head at the details. According to several reports about Lillard's free agency post-buyout from the Bucks, there weren't really any other teams that were considering signing him for anything more than the veteran's minimum, so the Blazers basically bid themselves up, paying 5 times as much as they probably needed to. $14 million per year may not seem like that much, but it was the 10th highest amount of money given out this summer on an annual basis. Lillard tore his Achilles in the playoffs, which is one of the most severe injuries a basketball player can suffer. It's the injury that essentially ended Kobe Bryant's prime, and it surely doesn't help much that Lillard is currently 35 years old rehabbing from it. How much juice will a 36-year-old Damian Lillard post-Achilles tear have left in the tank? Will he be able to come anywhere close to prior form? It's not impossible, but the odds are certainly stacked against him. So while the storyline of the reuniting is awesome to see, the math in the contract is where the deal becomes a big if. The next of the worst signings made this summer up on this list is the Dallas Mavericks bringing DAngelo Russell in for 2 years and $13 million. Again, on the surface, this may not seem like an egregious number, but I'm standing firm on the fact that I don't think the basketball world has quite caught up to how big of a negative DAngelo Russell has become. He's genuinely at the point where a veteran's minimum contract is the type of offer he should realistically be receiving, and I do not believe he can return any more value value than that, so for the Mavericks to put their trust in him to be their starting point guard while Kyrie Irving rehabs his torn ACL, it's not going to be as fun as most think it will be. D'Lo has been an entertaining all-star caliber talent at his peak, but a lot of time has passed since that peak happened back in 2019. The year is now 2025, and he has become the definition of empty calories. He's a high-usage, low-efficiency player who got ran out of town on the Lakers for being such a negative with a clashing skill set that isn't conducive to winning basketball games, and while his per-game averages may look decent on paper, he struggles in most important areas that help teams win. He's one of the worst perimeter defenders you'll see playing big minutes. He shot just 39% from the field and 31% from 3 last season, both numbers well below league average, and while he's a talented passer of the ball, he's not exactly known for consistently making the right reads. The Mavericks still fully intend to try to push for the playoffs this season, and Cooper Flagg being able to develop in a winning environment would be fantastic, but it's been a while since D'Lo has contributed to a winning environment. The next questionable contract on this list is the Detroit Pistons signing Duncan Robinson for 3 years and $48 million. Whoever Duncan Robinson's agent is has been performing a masterclass in the art of negotiating deals for years now. When Robinson signed his $90 million contract with the Heat in 2021, it immediately proved to be an overpay, as he has been unable to replicate the truly elite shooting performances that he put up in 2020 and 2021. And while he's still been a solid shooter of the basketball over the last 4 seasons, it's hard to justify a one-trick pony out there strictly to shoot the basketball who shoots below 40% from 3 4 years in a row like Robinson has. He's not a creator on the ball, he's not exactly a very good defender, he's not a playmaker, he is out there to run around off the ball trying to find looks from the outside to get 3-point shots up. For the Pistons to make the same mistake that the Heat made, paying him for 3 more years on a very similar salary to what he was making in Miami, actually blows my mind, because the signing just reeks of desperation. Yes, the Pistons needed to find a replacement for Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley, with Hardaway signing with the Nuggets and Beasley now being investigated in a gambling scandal, so of course I see why they wanted a shooter like Duncan Robinson, but severely overpaying for him when nobody else in the market was even bidding against them is poor business. There wasn't a market for Robinson at the trade deadline this past year when he was on an expiring contract. There wasn't much of a market besides a few much smaller offers for him in free agency, and now Robinson has somehow found himself signing the 5th largest contract of the entire summer, despite failing to come anywhere close to matching his value on the court while in Miami. And finally, the last questionable contract we'll be discussing today that was given out this offseason is the Sacramento Kings signing Dennis Schroeder for 3 years and $45 million. Similar to the Pistons overpaying out of desperation for a skill set that they were lacking in, the Kings did the exact same thing here, signing Schroeder for this much. After trading away De'Aaron Fox, but simultaneously still trying to salvage a team capable of making the playoffs moving forward, the Kings had no real point guard on their roster and wanted to ensure that they had a capable ball handler in their lineup before next season began. Schroeder is a 12-year veteran that has played for 9 different teams, spending less than 1 year at every single stop since the year 2020. He's bounced around more often than the Kardashian family and has been traded countless times in deals where he's barely even drawn much value in return for the teams trading him away, while being on a similar contract to the one that he just signed. So I really don't know where the Kings came up with this valuation. It's also another example of there not really being a market of teams willing to pay him this much this summer, so the Kings, like the Pistons in the last segment, bid themselves up. Schroeder had a strong showing in the playoffs with the Pistons in their series against the Knicks, but overall, he's way too inconsistent and inefficient to view as a full-time starting point guard. He averaged about 13 points and 5 assists per game last year, but he shot the ball below league average, making just 40% of his shots and 34% of his threes. Plus, after being acquired by the Pistons, he shot just 38% from the field and 30% from 3 with them to end the season. He's much better served as a backup point guard at this point in time, and the money doesn't match the value that he provides, which is demonstrated by the Orlando Magic, having signed Tyus Jones for half of this price, while Jones produces similar output at a much more efficient clip. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below which contracts you think were the biggest overpays this summer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.